I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture, which is all about combining theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. Sometimes friends happen to find themselves in your neck of the woods, and the two of you go for a quick journey across the state, then into the next, to visit one of the region's largest theme parks for their annual Halloween event, enjoying haunted houses and rides in the dark. While Larson was unfortunately absent from the last Buzz Bars event in Georgia, he happened to be coming to Seattle for a conference, and he proposed taking a trip across Washington to head into Idaho for a visit to Silverwood's Halloween event, Scarywood. So the plan was for me to pick him up from his hotel, and we'd take a mini tour around Seattle before heading to the airport for our flight to Spokane. This would be my first time taking a flight across to get to the eastern Washington city, making for a much shorter journey to the other side. The end of this past summer going into fall was particularly dry, and while wildfires have unfortunately been happening more frequently in the Northwest over the past few years, this was a fairly late time in the year for them to be occurring compared to the more recent cases, and seeing them from above was pretty surreal. But seeing the patterns of the smoke sure helped to better understand how some areas will have the smoke from these fires linger for a long time. Arriving into Spokane, I did have a brief moment of concern.
Since I had to ride in the back, I hope Larson didn't leave me behind.
Fortunately though, he didn't pull another Amsterdam.
He waited for me! You were so kind, I appreciate you. You should.
After doing a lot of driving in Europe, now I get to see how Larson handles the wheel.
We're gonna die.
With the rental picked up, all that was left to do was drive over to Idaho for an evening of spooky fun. While this was far from my first visit to Silverwood, I had somehow never made it over for the Halloween event, so I was really excited to see what they had to offer for the fall season. Before things kick off, they offer a special pre-event show near the gate with the Hellbillies, a humor and horror-filled show that sets the mood for what's about to commence inside.
I think there's somebody outside. Go check.
What the hell are all you Athels doing outside my trailer?
Did you just call these people a bunch of
No, I said Athel. Pretty name for a town if you ask me. The powers that be have been gracious enough to let us boondock here in exchange for a little population control.
I'm kind of sad. Are we already done for the night?
Billy Bob, I don't think there's any harm in getting an early start for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We're just getting started!
At the show's conclusion, several scare actors ambush the crowd to get the party started as Scarywood guests make their way into the main park areas. Like any good theme park Halloween event, there's multiple scare areas where you might find yourself face to face with a demon or a zombie. There's also opportunities to enjoy several of the park's coasters and rides in the dark, which is a real treat. This was the first season where Stunt Pilot was one of the coasters available for this event, making an already great ride even better, with some unique lighting elements. Tremors was also running really well that evening, but what might have been the biggest surprise was their other wooden coaster in Roller Coaster Alley, Timber Terror. An annual tradition of the event is to take the coaster's train and flip it around to run through the course backwards, and we had some thoughts about it.
So, backwards Timber Terror, holy Jesus.
Wicked cool. Like, love that a ton. If we had time, I would do that over and over again. That was super fun.
We may have to come back and check it out again because that was
awesome.
So good.
The one downside of the event's popularity is that it did lead to some fairly long lines for the two wooden coasters, so we didn't get that second lap as we hoped. And we also missed out on Aftershock, as they keep it closed during the event due to the usually low temperatures of the season. Luckily though, they also have several haunted mazes to enjoy, starting with Chuckle's 3D Sideshow, which offered an excellent blend of trippy blacklight visuals with great scares from the performers. This might have been my favorite house of the night. The other three houses, Pharaoh's Curse, Planet Zombie, and Blood Bayou, were all really well designed with great sets and theming. The amount of scares and effectiveness varied from house to house, but overall the folks at Silverwood know how to make some solid haunted mazes. We also grabbed some pizza for dinner at the Theater of Illusion, taking in the special version of Nick Norton's magic show called Disillusion, an Eternal Encore, offering a more spooky version of the tricks and illusions performed by the son of park founder Gary Norton. We wrapped up our night in the park with another lap on Stunt Pilot, as it continues to have the best moving line of the park's coasters, wrapping up a great first-time experience at Scarywood. The following morning, we drove back into Washington to get to Spokane's airport so that I could make my early morning departure back to Seattle. Larson's departure wasn't until later in the afternoon, so somewhat like he did in Amsterdam, he left me behind yet again. Fortunately, this airport was significantly easier to get through security, and it was just a nice easy flight back home. While the wildfires didn't show many signs of slowing down, the smoke wasn't enough to prevent being able to see Mount Rainier while approaching Seattle from the east, before making a turn near Tacoma to head north for the final approach.
The downside of this quick trip, I didn't plan it with a whole lot of time to get back home and change before I gotta go to work tonight. So I hope I make it back in time.
Luckily, I had plenty of time to get home and changed before having to clock in for that evening shift. And while I wasn't super thrilled about having to go right to work, it was a blast getting to join Larson for the day again while experiencing Silverwood's Scarywood event for the first time. This visit reinforced why Silverwood is still one of my favorite small parks in the country, and I certainly wouldn't mind making a point of coming back every fall to enjoy more spooky fun with Scarywood, whether it be for more laps on Timber Terror backwards, or their well-done haunted mazes and shows. Thanks again for checking out this look back at our evening of scares and screams. I hope you enjoyed it, and that you'll come back for more here on Coasting with Culture. Thank you for watching this Coasting with Culture video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below to see future videos here on YouTube like these ones, which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.